What makes a villain? Is it the acts against good and common decency? Is it the disregard for the well-being of your surroundings? Or is a villain just a misunderstood individual looking to belong?
If you watched Maxwell Jacob Friedman enter the Nassau Coliseum on December 30th, 2023, you might make the argument for the latter. Because pay the devil his due here. MJF has defied every sense of logic when it comes to being a top star in the professional wrestling industry. Because, to quote the man himself,
this 5'0" ADD riddled
his hands were never going to truly be clean on his quest for the Triple B. He cost the company man the title that was within his destiny. He gaslit his former hero and became the justful hand of karma. And he cheated every step of the way. But this salt of the earth, this scumbag, rose to be something greater. Because while he's still a scumbag, he became our scumbag.
Because my name is Maxwell Jacob Friedman, and I'm better than you, and you know it. Let me tell you why you Nimrods boo me. It's because you're jealous.
MJF might call himself the devil, but at least the devil was an angel first.
Like many other innovators in our sport, MJF had an unbridled obsession with professional wrestling. While studying the greats like Ric Flair and Jake the Snake Roberts, Maxwell started a college football career in order to parlay it into a professional wrestling career down the line, hoping that once he was famous and recognizable, after a couple of years, he would hang up his cleats and then receive a call from Vince McMahon to go join WWE.
Seeing where WWE is now with their NIL program, Max was definitely ahead of his game in his earliest years.
But once Max arrived to start playing collegiate sports, something didn't feel right. Seeing the writing on the wall, he did what many 18-year-olds don't really have the maturity or knowledge to do, and that's leave a situation that will not serve them in the future. He would decide to leave college, to leave football behind, and spend the next 4 years dedicating himself to the world of wrestling. Being trained by Brian Myers and Pat Buck at the Creator Wrestler Academy in Hicksville, New York, some would see a young man leaving a great opportunity in front of them for unsure waters to be a foolish decision. Little did we all know MJF was playing chess, as the rest of us were playing checkers.
The year is 2018. I, for 1 year, have had a brand spanking new Dodge Ram truck, and in that 1 year, I put 90,000 miles on it because I busted my ass trying to make a name for myself on the independent circuit.
While MJF didn't receive a degree in the next 4 years, he earned a doctorate in working for everyone and anyone who would hire him, making his early name in CZW and MLW as well. All of this while keeping kayfabe alive. You see, now in the modern day of wrestling, kayfabe is played very fast and loose, but Max kept his personal life very close to the chest, and no matter where you were gonna get MJF.
I have a couple things I need to say. I got Purell on hand because everybody here are disgusting, knuckle-dragging, mouth-breathing, inbred morons.
But you're gonna die alone and a virgin, and not even fleas will mourn your death.
How old are you?
I'm 11.
Are you aware that your dad made a horrible mistake 11 years ago?
You see, back in the early days of the sport, what happened in the ring was treated as real as life could be. So if you were a heel, you were a heel 24/7. That means no mixing it up with the baby faces outside of the show, and if there's a fan interaction, you better play the part. As time has gone on, these roles were understood to be more performative than anything. But to MJF, it's still real to him, damn it. It is not that hard to find pictures, YouTube compilations, and fan recounts of MJF's interactions with people both in and outside of the ring. No matter where you found Maxwell, he was MJF 100% of the time.
This old school way of working combined with elite mic skills and an ungodly amount of knowledge on the business got Max noticed by a lot of important people. But he got noticed by one individual that would change his life and the life of a burgeoning company forever.
And I am the devil himself.
Hey Max, this is Cody Rhodes. I wanted to see if you're available for a show.
Chicago, Illinois, September 21st, 2018. Needless to say, All In was not only one of the biggest independent wrestling shows in history, but the talent showcase there was about to put the entire wrestling world on notice.
Night of love, a night of energy, a night of passion, a love letter to professional wrestling. All In.
While All In, of course, was the precursor to the formation of All Elite Wrestling, we finally got something for the independent scene that had been working so hard. All these powerhouses, people who had worked all around the world, finally got their day in the sun. Some would go ahead and be signed by WWE, while others would be there in the first year of All Elite Wrestling. But away from the main card was Max on the pre-show. And now don't get me wrong, being on the pre-show to the biggest independent wrestling show in the world when you've only been doing this for a handful of years is nothing to sneeze at. But you can just tell within his performance that this kid wanted more.
Like many of us, including myself, this was the wider wrestling world's first exposure to Maxwell Jacob Friedman, and it secured him a 5-year-long AEW contract. He would also gain a mentor during this time, as he would also become his running buddy, the same man that brought him in to AEW. Him being the cool-headed mentor and Max to be the cocky, hot-headed mentee. This thin veil he had above himself, or frankly lack thereof, would soon have us see the real MJF as a wolf in sheep's clothing.
That night would change both men's trajectory within AEW, but something more important happened that we're seeing now today, is that this one nutshot caused a ripple effect within the wrestling industry that is still being felt to this day.
Cody's fate would be the template for many MJF opponents going forward, working through trials in order to get up to a match with him, enduring both mental and physical pain in order to do so, then finally facing off against him one-on-one mano-a-mano, just for him to win by the skin of his teeth via his cheating ways. All pretty standard heel work that slowly saw Max climb up the card and even main event All Out in 2020 in a losing effort to the company's ace, Jon Moxley.
While the work was great and showcased that MJF could be part of a national TV product, a giant would soon awaken and change the trajectory of MJF's career and the wrestling world as we know it.
You see, CM Punk wasn't just another legend to MJF. Punk was a wrestler and performer Max cited in a lot of his interviews as a key inspiration for the bouts that he would construct. Their feud was not only one of lost admirers to Jaded Hero, but for Max, CM Punk's rejection of him once entering AEW cut so much deeper than in-ring affairs. And this is where we saw the rawest version of MJF, along with his most evil.
You know, CM Punk, he showed a photograph last week, and he said that for him it was just another Friday. But the fact of the matter is, at one point in my life, the only reason I got out of bed in the morning was because of professional wrestling. Just like all of you, I love professional wrestling. I love AEW. And yes, you know what? That day meant more to me than just a Friday. That day meant everything to me. That day meant everything to me, and when I went back home, I made a promise to myself that I was gonna be just like my hero CM Punk. This 5'0" ADD riddled was gonna become the best in the world.
No one is born a demon. No one is born the devil. No one is born salt of the earth. But what else is a young ADD Jewish boy supposed to do when he is rejected by his world, his peers, and his colleagues? But to snap.
You stupid old man. I'm a snake. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he doesn't exist. I'm gonna show you that I am the devil himself.
Popular opinion here, the dog collar match between MJF and CM Punk is probably the greatest dog collar match of all time.
After the turn of MJF's longtime heavy Wardlow during the infamous dog collar match, there was a visible change in MJF. One that didn't come from the fights with Cody Rhodes or CM Punk, but one that came from the primal urge to give the devil his due.
I love you like a brother, but a win in Wembley will make me legendary. And I'm gonna win, Adam, because nobody is on the level of the devil. But all you people want to do is hear me talk, right?
Paradise, Nevada, May 29th, 2022, AEW Double or Nothing, MJF is set to have his blow-off match against his since-turned babyface big man Wardlow.
Every time I come out here, I am not expected to hit home runs. I am expected to hit grand slams, and I do that on a weekly basis.
Earlier that day, the wrestling world was abuzz, being that MJF didn't show up to a scheduled signing for Double or Nothing weekend.
See, all the other boys, they get to settle for being great. I have to be perfect because I'm the 26-year-old who is constantly held under a microscope.
As MJF entered an arena full of speculation, he mockingly did airplane arms in the middle of the ring and went on to have a 7-minute squash match with Wardlow, where Wardlow defeated his one-time employer.
Because I'm the only guy who is capable of carrying this company on my back, as I have for months.
After this, MJF had a bone to pick of his own, but not with Wardlow, with the man who signs his checks, Mr. Tony Khan. Professional wrestling, much like other types of entertainment, is paid by your importance to the overall show. The higher you are on the card, the higher your paycheck will presumably be.
While MJF was signed as a lower card talent, his stock continued to grow and rise to where he was on a main event level with other top guys in AEW. The only difference in the two performers MJF would have matches with is, one of them was getting paid way more than the other, and it's not the guy with the scarf. MJF had become a homegrown talent within AEW, so, like many of us would, he went to his boss and asked that if he was going to be given more responsibility, he wanted more pay. After getting an answer that was less than desired, much like he did on the college football field, he made a decision for himself once he read the room he was in.
Angry, frustrated, and over being underappreciated, Tony Khan gave Max a live mic and told him to go out to speak his mind.
Look at me. I want you to fire me. You Mark, fire me.
We would go months without a peep from MJF. No social media posts, no interviews, or signs of life. The man had made his career off talking as much as he possibly could, and to have such utter silence, it was a void that was very loudly noticed.
Fan speculation ran wild over MJF at this point. Did he actually just quit on live TV? Was he gonna go on WWE? Or was the devil just going to lie in the shadows and wait for his perfect time to strike?
Oh, it's been a few months now, and your continuous, unexcused, extended absence is hurting the company, and it's definitely hurting the fans. So if you will show up at All Out, I am willing to swallow a very bitter pill, but you have to show up at All Out. This is my final offer. You're not going to get a better one.
After his return, and oddly enough being proven right in many ways, MJF finally was able to step up and to take his rightful throne as the head of All Elite Wrestling, and finally captured the World Championship. The resulting reign saw Maxwell do what he does best, being the best scumbag in the world.
The greatest Iron Man match ever with Bryan Danielson, the 4-pillar 4-way, and even wrestling greats like Hiroshi Tanahashi, Max was showing night after night why he in fact was the devil himself. The thing is though, about devils and villains, is that while their very plan is being unfolded in front of their eyes, they could see the error of their ways and a change of heart. But that lapse in judgment puts their guard down long enough for someone to unseat them.
It's rare but magical in wrestling to find two people who could face off and it's just pure magic. Stone Cold Steve Austin and Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. And for AEW, I can think of no two better than Maxwell Jacob Friedman and Adam Cole.
Garcia! Victim of a double clothesline! Because for 15 years, I've been at the top of every wrestling promotion I have ever worked for. The fact of the matter is, if there's no All In, there's no MJF, and that's a fact!
Rivals can bring the best out of their opponent. And what Adam Cole brought out of MJF was something we hadn't seen before. We saw the good boy MJF could be, the caring soul that was within inside this hard-crusted shell. And finally, yes, while he was still a scumbag, he was finally our scumbag.
The devil had cut his horns off and grown wings. With Adam Cole, Max saw that it was okay to be loved, to allow others into your life, And to do the right thing, this friendship led both men to main eventing the largest wrestling event in history at All In Wembley, with no man turning their back on their friendship, a happy ending that's so rare in wrestling. With the team picking up the Ring of Honor tag titles earlier in the night, it was a wholesome, sweet moment, so rare and pure. And the growth did not stop there with MJF. As Adam Cole was sat out with injury, he would defend the ROH tag titles on his best friend's behalf.
All seemed fine for Maxwell Jacob Friedman until a new devil were to emerge. And this one, unfortunately, keeps receipts. With laser-tight focus, the devil and his masked men went after everything Max held dear. From new friends he made in Adam Cole's absence in the Acclaimed, to adversaries like Jay White.
This would lead to him even teaming with the man going after his beloved Triple B and Samoa Joe. The sins of Max, though, don't forget, and slowly but surely, they were about to come back to haunt him. With his eyes off his one true love in order to protect what he and his best friend had earned, dropping that focus on the devil he was before, that got him the AEW World title, would soon be his undoing. As MJF rose to the top of the professional wrestling world, he forgot the most important rule. The ones that are closest to us will be the first ones to turn against us. After all, this is professional wrestling, and new devils will always take your place, baby.
Whatever happens to MJF at this point, I have to say, the past 406 days have been amazing to watch. And frankly, I must give the devil his due. While he's still a scumbag, he'll always be our scumbag. And thank you guys so much for watching this retrospective deep dive on Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF. I want to know, what's your favorite moment from MJF's AEW title reign? Go ahead and let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to suplex that like button and hit subscribe so you don't miss our next video. Who should I cover next? Go ahead and let me know in the comments down below. This has been Extreme League Wrestling. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.